Student loans are a bit of a problem right now. Back in the day when I originally started practicing, we could actually discharge student loans if they'd been due more than 6 or 7 years. I forget which one at this point. But it was odd the way they counted the due dates because you couldn't count repayments, suspensions, things of that. But if the student loan had been due long enough, then they were just simply discharged right along with all the other debt. They got rid of that, and now that student loans aren't dischargeable. But lately, there's been the Second Circuit and the 10th Circuit. The 10th Circuit, of course, covers Kansas. The 8th Circuit Court of Appeals covers Missouri. But those two circuits have ruled that private student loans are, in fact, still discharged. It's only the government-guaranteed student loans that are not automatically discharged. To discharge a government-guaranteed student loan, it's extremely difficult to do because of what we call the Bruner test. There's a significant number of factors that have to be met in order to do that. The ones that I've won has almost always involved a client that has a disability or has dependents that have disabilities, something that is making it extremely difficult for them to continue to pay or to pay that loan at all. In the nutshell, the bankruptcy code just refers to it as a hardship test, and basically it's whether or not requiring the repayment of the student loan would cause an undue hardship on the debtor or the debtor's dependents. I've won several of those. You don't see them litigated very often. I know I've got a couple of cases coming up through the pipeline on the here in the 8th Circuit, the Western District of Missouri, on the discharge of the private student loans. I suspect there's probably other cases out there, and the two circuits that have looked at it, the 10th and the 2nd, have both ruled that those are discharged. And I've actually got one case where that's probably going to happen no matter what we do right now. So student loans are difficult at best. There is, fortunately, I don't know whether they'll get it accomplished, but there's talk in the Washington, D.C. about amending the code again to make the student loans dischargeable, all student loans dischargeable, or the government-guaranteed student loans dischargeable once they've been due more than 10 years. I would suspect they would go back and use the same calculations that they previously did, and the 10-year time frame doesn't include any repayment suspensions such as forbearances or deferments or something like that. So we might get that back. Who knows? With Washington the way it is right now, I don't know if that will come through, but there is some talk at least about doing that. So, but there's also been a significant recognition over the last several years that these student loans are creating a massive burden on the students. I mean, they're walking out of school with debts that are just astronomical, and most of them don't really have much of a chance to pay it. So